Well, I want to put my head through a damn wall. I want to put my head through a wall right now. I want to put my head through a freaking wall. That series perfectly summarized the way that this season has gone. Truthfully, that's what it is. The title says it. We all were thinking it. How it is incredible how all season long it has been one step forward, two steps back for this team. You sweep the Phillies, pull yourself into a fighting chance to win the division, which I still had my doubts. But I'm like, you know what? Maybe you could gain some ground here at some point. Maybe the Phillies lose on a day that you win and you find a way to gain ground. Keep it a tight race until you get to Philadelphia. Maybe you end up beating them at the very least 3 out of 4. And it's like, okay, you maybe actually have a chance. At this point, I don't know. Like, sure, if they sweep the Phillies, maybe the division's in play. That's not happening though. Which I did say last time, and then they did sweep them. So I would love to be wrong. I want nothing more than to be wrong about my doubts and negativity and everything. That's all I want is to be wrong about this. But unfortunately, that is just not the way the season has gone. And the way that it has gone is anytime there's a glimmer of optimism, there's a glimmer of hope that maybe something's turning around, maybe something's clicking, especially with the fact that it felt like 2024 vibes with that Philly series. And even in the second game of this series, and now all of a sudden, this is where we are losing 3 of 4 of the Marlins. That should have been you beating up on them. Because going into this, I demanded 3 out of 4 minimum. And instead, you go into this series after sweeping the Phillies and you lose to the Marlins. I'm not even angry because I'm past the point of like being surprised when stuff like this happens, you know? That's really the issue is that it's like I said, it's the story of the season to where I'm not surprised when it happens. And it's a shame because I want nothing more than to be wrong about this group. But they give me every reason to feel the opposite. It's like today, the offense doesn't show up after they showed up for a majority of the series. When, don't get me wrong, Kodai Senga did not make this easy, and he was horrible today once again. Who's surprised? Who's surprised that another bulk guy from the bullpen did better than the starting pitcher? But the offense had an opportunity to make this a game. And runners in scoring position, like it's been all year, the issue. And, the biggest problem is as of lately with their runners in scoring position thing, it's like it's great that they were better and they've been better with runners in scoring position. It's great that they have been scoring a bunch of runs, but their record in August still is garbage. They still lose some of these games because the pitching is garbage. And these veteran starters, like I said yesterday about David Peterson, they should be embarrassed. They really should be embarrassed that these young starting pitchers are going out there and doing their job far and away better, especially in the case of Peterson, who's been consistent throughout this year up until 13 games ago, I guess, which I think a lot of that's inflated from the Atlanta start and then the last start, the ERA. But either way, like him, Senga, who is supposed to be one of the frontline starters for this team, it's just embarrassing. But I didn't even get to the intro. Leave a like on your way in, subscribe, turn on your notifications. It started early with Senga. Just not being able to locate, walking batters, allowing a single to Ramirez, and then here comes a sac fly and hard contact all game long. And it's 1-0 before he could even sit on the couch and get comfortable. And then he allows that home run to Augustine Ramirez in the third, leaving a sweeper right over the plate, allowing more runs in the fourth. And then Jeff McNeil not covering first base, because that's another story. This team does not play good defense. And you have Jeff McNeil late to covering first base. Xavier Edwards gets an infield single, which I disagree with that one. That should have been an error there all the way on. They did rule an error on Beatty, it says here. That should have been on McNeil, honestly, the error. Beatty threw it to the base. McNeil's not on the base. And then the offense. Cedric Mullins heading into a force out. Whoop-de-damn-do. He stinks, by the way, if I haven't mentioned that already. And I think I have made it very clear that I'm very pissed off. And here we go again, right? This manager, once again, I don't understand why there's no gut feel from this manager at points with the lineup decisions. And I'm someone that's very, very pro analytics. I'm very pro putting your team in the best position to win analytically, but you cannot use analytics as the Bible. And I've always stood by that as well. And when you have Tyrone Taylor, who has been on a hot stretch for the past 2 weeks or so, and I know Story Martes took two very, very ugly at bats, the pinch hit today and the pinch hit yesterday. But I'm sorry, I'd rather have Story Marte or Tyrone Taylor in this lineup over Cedric Mullins, who gives nothing for this team. I'm so tired of watching him. He's horrible. Thank goodness Alvarez is coming back soon for the bottom of this lineup. But the top guys, I mean, Pete Alonso, what an ugly series for him. Swinging way too much at pitches in the other batters' boxes. I'm not going to kill Soto. I just can't do it. He was the only one productive really throughout the entire series. It just like, and this is really the thing with the Mullins thing. It was a panic trade, and they had to panic. Why did the messages come up like that? I thought I switched it. Sometimes StreamYard, you know what it is? Sometimes they just reset. There it is. Sometimes they just reset the settings, and I don't know why. But this is it. The Mullins trade was a panic trade. And I was okay with it because they need somebody to play center field. But when you have someone that's playing, when that's on a hot stretch right now, why are you sitting them? And that's been a problem with Mendoza all year long. There were times where Brett Beatty was playing good baseball, and it's like, nope, he's sitting on the bench. Mark Vientos showed maybe glimpses of getting out of the slump earlier on, sits on the bench. I'm just very frustrated with this manager. I really am. And I'm not saying he's the reason that they lost the series, because at the end of the day, this team did not play good defensively and not enough execution from their starters. I am not saying this fully falls on him. I want to make that very clear for the people that defend Carlos Mendoza and whatever it might be. I'm not telling you that it is his fault that they lost this series, but there is something to be said about the fact where it's like, you need to put your guys in the best position to succeed. And why is there no sense of, gut feeling into the lineup decision of Tyrone Taylor's been playing good baseball, let's put him in the lineup? Why is that not a thought? Because Sandy throws with his right hand, we got to put a lefty in the lineup? Come on. Come on. That to me just, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And again, if you didn't want to go with Tyrone Taylor today, Jeff McNeil's got to play center field, and you got to get Marte in to DH, and Vientos has to play the field. It's that simple. And this is making me do a little more research as well. Yeah, because I wanted to see Taylor's numbers against Sandy. 0 for 6. So I don't know if that played a factor. Now it's like it's Starling Marte, though. Starling Marte. 5 for 16 with a home run and 3 RBIs. Has an 1,000 OPS against Sandy. Didn't start today. That so if they're looking at the limited sample size with Taylor, they should be looking at the limited sample size of Marte as well. I don't get it. I really don't. But again, to me, it's like you could use analytics, but it can't be the Bible. If a guy's playing better, then they got to be in the lineup. The only positive that I have from today's game is Brandon Waddell is a hero. He got a standing O from me from the couch today because good on him to eat all of those innings and do better than the starting pitcher did today. Good on him. He's going to get DFA'd, but you got a fresh bullpen now tomorrow. So I really wonder what the September call-ups will be tomorrow, though, because Waddell's going to be gone. They're going to call up a fresh arm, and then you're going to have another fresh arm. Don't want to hear the words pitching lab ever again. I can't get behind that comment, though, because look at what the young pitchers are doing. The veterans are the ones not doing anything. And the pitching lab isn't going to be successful every single time. And I get that it's frustrating, but I can't blame the pitching lab for Kodai Senga not locating his pitches. I think it's simple that the league has just figured out Kodai Senga more. That's really all I think it is with this. Like I know people point to the injury and stuff. Sure, maybe that plays a factor, but I really think the league has just learned to lay off of a lot of Senga's pitches. I mean, the Marlins were not chasing anything this entire series as well. And yeah, I know. This part, yeah, I know. Yeah. All of us got up from our couches to give Waddell a standing O. I know I did. Veteran starters equals automatic loss. That's what it seems like. They're not going to shut him down for the season, but there needs to be serious discussions here about doing a Phantom IL stint for Senga. There has to be some serious conversations with the way Sproat's pitching down in AAA and the way Senga looks right now. They have to be having discussions internally about this. I at least hope. Yeah. Welcome to the Phantom IL. Mullins is Darren Ruff in disguise. Helsley is 2019 Diaz in disguise, and this team is going nowhere in the playoffs, which I think they will luckily make. It's funny because that series after they beat the Phillies, I'm like, oh, I'm not even worried now. They're going to make the playoffs for sure, but where will they end up finishing seed wise? Now, once again, that series against the Reds feels like it's going to mean something soon. It actually feels like it might matter again, which is sickening. And this is it. Yes. That the young starters literally can't be worse than what these starters are giving. So don't tell me, oh, you can't put Senga on the Phantom IL because what if Sproat stinks? He literally can't be worse than what Senga's giving you. He can't. I'm sorry, if you're telling me Sproat's gonna be giving what Senga's giving, then okay, Senga was gonna give that anyway. You literally there can't be worse. And it's amazing how the other thing I said after they swept the Phillies, one thing that was important to me is how will you follow up the series? And especially once you lose a game again, because I was like, you're going to lose at some point. How are you going to respond? Are you going to let that have you spiral again? Is that how it's going to be? Or are you going to follow it up by, are you going to follow up your next loss by showing, you know what, we could turn the page and we're going to win? But all year, all they've shown instead is one loss lets them spiral. It's unfortunate. I don't know what happened with the mentality of last year's team that didn't let this shit happen. Well, at least late in the season. And yeah, the young pitchers have been better. It's like I tweeted, it is annoying watching these veteran pitchers go out there and shit themselves every 5 to 6 days, while these young guys have all the pressure in the world on them because of it. And I don't know what it would have took to get Mitch Keller at the deadline, but man, like they needed someone that could just eat innings at the deadline instead of having to rely on these young starters. And that's just what's frustrating about it. It's very, very frustrating. It's making me wonder what Mitch Keller's been up to lately. So I'm sorry that I went silent there. Did have one rough outing against the Blue Jays, but I mean, outside of that, you have a 5 inning outing, 6 innings. There actually are a couple rough outings in there. So I don't know. I just want someone that could eat innings out here. Very frustrating. All right, there will be a podcast coming to you guys. I don't know when, to be honest with you, because it's weird with the 1 o'clock start tomorrow. So maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, early. We'll see. Thank you, everyone, though, for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.